I'm Kristen.
And this is Damsels After Dark. And if you're new here, we are, in our little corner, we're sort of book reviewers, book talkers, book ranters and ravers.
We pretty much take whatever book we can find on the internet that's being really, well, the underdogs of the books, and some of these like crazed books that we hear all over BookTok that we just kind of talk about, discuss what we like, dislike.
Examine critically.
Yeah, the best we can.
Yeah. This episode, we are finishing the Plighted Prisoner series with book 6, Goldfinch. I'm pretty excited. Our normal kind of run through will be a summary and then our overall ratings, and then we'll jump into spoilers at the end to talk about our hated and best parts.
So without further ado, let's jump into it.
So we've made it.
Yes,
yay!
Finally. It felt like eternity for just doing a 6-book review.
You know, 6 books is a lot, though.
It is a lot. It is a lot, especially during the holidays and like the weather season where, you know, stuff just is really hard to keep the internet on and not be sick and
keep the basic power on.
Yeah, there's always something going on, so it stops us from like, doing consecutive, shows.
Yeah, it's hard, and then the books themselves got bigger. Too,
yeah,
I believe.
they did.
So
they did.
Through all of that chaos, we're trudging through the books. And
also, that last book did just get released sometime in the summer, so we were waiting for that to. To get released.
Yes, we were. But I'm glad that we're finally here. It was a good journey. I think this is the biggest book series that we've reviewed so far. I think it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good pick. I think for being our first series review, I think it's a good pick. It was definitely one of those that started off not really well known, and then it just got really big on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that.
Finally, we're at the forefront.
Yeah.
We're the OGs, I will say. I mean, maybe we were not the OGs, but we were up there before the fan art came out.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of fan art.
There was no fan art. I'm like, what is this Slade guy? Somebody draw Slade for me.
Yeah.
Draw Auren for me. What do these ribbons look like?
Yeah, I know. We were struggling, trying to figure out the ribbon situation.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
I'm still kind of trying to figure out the ribbon situation.
You know, I see a lot more fan art with the ribbon situation, and I'm starting to actually, like, be okay with it.
Yeah, I still don't like them.
I don't like the ribbons, but I like the idea that they're making it more, I don't want to give it away because it's more...
It's more palpable to look at other people's versions of it. Like, it looks better, it looks more believable.
Yeah. Well, because some people probably did like it, and they were able to represent it in their way, and it's like, okay, I do like that, but I still don't like it, the concepts of it.
I have a love-hate relationship with these.
I do,
because when she starts to use them, they're great, and I like the idea, but when they're just hanging around or they're being flirty with Slade, I'm not like into it. He's into it though. He's like, oh,
and good for him. He has to be, you know. Like,
he does.
He is her mate.
They like him.
Yeah,
so.
they do. There's like only like 2 parts when they're being flirty that I do like. It's the bed part.
Yeah, and 3. Yeah, yeah, that's the only part.
That's fucking hilarious and cringy for her.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, so far it's been good. I'm glad that we finally made it here at book 6. So yeah, I guess we could just sort of jump into our summary.
Yes. Before we do though, don't forget this is a dark fantasy. If you haven't, if you were here for the first time, I suggest going back to our first episode with this series and watching that. But if you want to kind of just see what this book is about, obviously it is a dark fantasy. It says so right in the beginning. It's got violence. This one doesn't really have a lot of abuse in it. I don't know. The other ones kind of did, but this one is more of a violent book.
Yeah.
And a sexual content, adult language, stuff like that. So, war, lots of war.
Lots of war, lots of torture and imprisonment and all that fun stuff. So basically, I mean, that's the summary. Is literally war. That's all this book is. We finally made it to the crescendo of everything. There's a battle on Anwen's side that's kind of brewing.
The Feyworld,
The Feyworld, and then there's a battle happening in Auren. Is that right?
Auren? I don't know.
Whatever. We're just...
The human world.
So we got the Fey realm and the human world, and each of them, there's stuff brewing. I think we last left off, Slade had not yet made it to the Fey realm. He was on his way. Yeah. Well, actually, he was on his way to Ranhold.
Yeah.
To then go to the Fey realm, because obviously that's where Auren has been. All of book 5, Auren was there. And so, I mean, I guess not much of a spoiler. Obviously, eventually he's gonna make it to the Fey world, so then that's what he does. He goes to the Fey world.
Yeah.
And then
they
so
reconnect.
They reconnect
because it says it in the main summary. There's reconnection of some characters. There's going to be meetings of other characters that you've met in the book, but they haven't met other characters. So there's that meeting, and just practically, the ending of the series.
Romances too.
Maybe some more questions if you're like me. But a lot of things that you were starting to, in my opinion, this book almost took a whole different trajectory from the other books. I mean, obviously it's supposed to have that last ending for most of these characters. But like I felt like it just it had a lot of meat to it that I didn't know that was part of what the plot was supposed to be. Like, it's almost like I didn't know what the plot was heading towards until it got there. And then it's like I wouldn't have
thought about this
being the, like, even in the last book, the dragon situation.
Well, yeah, that was fucking weird.
And now, so we have the dragon in this book that we didn't have a part of for like, what, 4, 5 books
yeah,
mostly?
I think it came out at the end of 5.
Yeah, so like there's things in play in this book that like never happened or had anything to do with the last book. So this book, in my opinion, took a different trajectory because there's a lot of things that didn't happen in the other books that are now happening in this book.
A lot of ends that were tied, but that started at the very end.
Exactly.
Because actually, I don't even think they confirm at 5 that it's a dragon. We just know that he erupts with scales. It's not until this book, at the very, very beginning, that you confirm that it is a dragon.
You kind of get the idea that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of joking about it, but yes, it is. Yeah. So, literally start a path now at the very, very end to tie that for no real reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that in my opinion in this book where things are ending but things are beginning, and it's like beginning things at the end of a series almost feels like you're starting a new series.
And it's unnecessary. Like, you have enough build up behind you to perfectly end this without bringing up more things that only sometimes brings up more questions.
Yeah, and especially if you're only going to do it for a very period of time. If you're only going to like talk about it in this book for short glimpses, it's like, then what was the point of bringing it up, and why now do I feel like I need more questions answered?
Because you could have put sort of hints of Slade's bloodline and during his flashbacks
throughout the whole.
You could have talked about dragon blood being in existence. You could have talked about how it was once in his bloodline, like anything to sort of plant that seed earlier on. But yeah, like you're saying, planting it at the very end, the very last book.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't even think it was. Try not to do too many spoilers, but when you find out about what his dragon situation is, I don't think you find out right away even. It's like the middle of book 6.
Yeah.
I don't think
it's not even till then. I mean, when you find out...
truly find out. It's at the fucking end of the book. It's like, okay, well, cool, but I would have liked to know this.
Yeah.
From the very beginning.
I agree.
Or like, there's a whole other book. I guess we talked it in our series review, or our book series review. That way we have something to talk about in that one. But like, I just don't understand why I'm bringing these things up in the last book. So be prepared for that. It's a lot of that in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. So yeah, essentially this is basically the war book. We leave Auren last book too, where she had lost her memories. So then we're kind of dealing with that. She's been imprisoned by the king, so she's there for a bit. Of course, she's gonna break out because she's part of this war. So. Yeah. Or somebody's going to break her out, or somehow she's getting out of the capturing, and then they're going to go to war. But that's pretty much this book.
Yes. There's POV switches just like all the other books. I can't remember or recall how many different POV switches, but I think it's practically all the POV switches from the books you read previously. Now you're just getting their same POV switches, unless they're deceased.
I think Commander Riot was the newest one.
There wasn't many books, but there was like a couple. Yeah. And to me, that just screamed
and
like...
Rissa.
Yeah.
Rissa and Riot were the new ones.
I think the only reason why... Well, you had Rissa in the other books, but in one of the books she was indisposed, so like she couldn't have a POV, really?
Yeah, in 5 she was indisposed.
Yeah, so this book is just catching up on her POV from...
Oh, that's right, because she had POV in...
When she was in the wartime.
That's right.
Yeah, I loved her POV.
Me too. I loved her POV in this one too.
Yeah, I do too.
I love Rissa.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because I couldn't stand her for a period of time.
Yeah,
so.
same.
Raven, the author of this book, really did a good number on that. There was times where I hated a character and then like immediately liked them in another book. It's like, what happened?
Same. I think she did good on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Especially with the main character. I mean, there was points where I hated stuff that the main character was up to.
Yes, she did a lot. Well, we do it with Slade too throughout the whole series.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a love-hate with Slade. Yeah. More of a love, but sprinkles of hate.
Yes.
So, Kristen, what was your overall
My overall rating was a 3.5. And that's being generous.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go at a 3 at some point, but I just didn't feel like that was fair. Because I did enjoy the book, and not to say that a 3, I don't enjoy a book, but that's a rated 3. I just felt like, because I had so many questions at the end of the book, it just took away so much for me, and I just felt like it wasn't the end of the series. Mm-hmm. And that's to say without getting spoilers. I just feel like this isn't the end, and if that's the case, if it isn't the end, then I don't think I could rate a higher rating for a book that's supposed to be the last book of the series. So
yes,
I don't. And like we were talking about earlier, having to put new things in there at the last minute to have more questions, that definitely does not make me feel good about the book.
Yeah, especially when it's your end book. Like, this is your monumental build-up. This is where you clean up all of your split ends or hanging ends. Is that not split ends? And then hair. Yeah.
Well, also too, I mean, we can split hairs, really. But like, there's a few parts in the book too that didn't make sense to me, and I'm hoping maybe talking to you about it, you'd be able to help me, because like I don't understand how some things, like, you know, you set a path for your storyline. You set certain circumstances to be conveyed, and this is what you expect the reader to believe. And then now I feel like we veered off from that, and I'm just like, I'm confused. Why would we do things that way? Yeah. So I felt like that a lot of the time in the book too. I
agree with you as well. I also gave it a 3. I do feel like that's being generous because I was like maybe a 2.5, but the thing is that overall I generally liked how this battle was done, and that normally falls flat for me in a lot of books because it's almost like you build up to this big crescendo of a battle and then it's like 4 pages long, or I'm sorry, 4 chapters long. And it doesn't do the due justice that I wanted to, but this book was really good at doing the battle. It felt so much more action-packed than any of the other books because I'm like in a battle here and I'm in a battle in the Fey realm and then I'm in some other, like, all of these characters' POVs are like all over the map. And I noticed in the reviews a lot of people didn't like that, but I will say I like that.
I do too. It's a war book.
And I can understand for some people, like, if you're used to just one POV and you're moving through the world that way, that it could get overwhelming, but it just felt like it was so good how she did it, because she would have an event happen here with one person, then you'd see somebody else's POV that was affected by that on the other realm or in some other area, and how that affected them, and then they would move all over the map. I fucking loved it.
Also, we're talking about 7 kingdoms here. You know how some books will talk about, this kingdom, that kingdom, but you don't experience them? You experienced the war in almost every kingdom. Finally, you're realizing, because of what Slade did in the last book, he was starting to take out a lot of the kingdoms, so you got to experience this, but now, like, you're getting to experience, like, Slade realizing, I don't need my vengeance no more. Like, I need this. I need my Auren back. And so now he's focused on that while the wars are happening. So you are still... It's 7 kingdoms with 2 realms. Like, you're gonna that are fighting on all ends. Like, why wouldn't you have battles and wars everywhere? Especially at a monumental level with people having powers. Like, that was the whole reason that you found out, even in the very first book, that all the mortals who are royalty have to have powers to protect the realm. So why wouldn't there be battles at all ends of the earth and different realms with powers? Like,
and I want to see those different POVs. I don't just want the one battle. And then also, the person who kills the king, I am excited and happy about who did that, because some other books, ACOTAR, have somebody kill the king and you're like, who the fuck? What is this? Why is this I didn't like that. This one I was like, that's the right person who should have killed it. Though I wanted somebody else, maybe. But I was okay with this one. So I'm happy with how generally the battles went. They felt realistic. It felt like it was actually there people who needed to kill the top people were the appropriate people who should have done that. So everything felt realistic on that end. I do like that. But I also agree with you wholeheartedly that there are questions, and lots of questions and no answers. And also towards the end, I feel like some things were just left, and not even like that brought up questions for me. It was like, I don't want to spoil it, but like
I think we know exactly what
it's like. You're in the Fey realm, and we sort of end in the Fey realm, and that's it. And then we're like, well, what happened to the whole other realm?
Right?
So, like, that's kind of a big thing, and I don't know that that's such a big of a spoiler, but, like, literally, you got the battle, and then what happens at the end, and it wasn't really explained.
I might as well just say right now, since we're in this, like, that way people who don't want to know the spoilers could hear this. I ended up looking things up because I was so, like, what? Why is this, like, I feel unfinished or open, and it's because it wasn't meant to be that way. She wrote, I'll have to find it, but Raven Kennedy said something about she left it open on purpose that if she ever wanted to revisit the world, she can, because she still loved the characters and she wanted to be able to come back to it if she needed to. And I felt like, why? Why are you doing this?
I think that if...
then it's not an ending of the series.
Then that's something that you could have still done by leaving maybe some character, like building off of the character, but you can't just like exclude a whole half of the realm.
Yeah, after it was supposed to be a whole...
That was the whole point, was to save
the main realm.
The main realm, and then we end not in the main realm or talking about what happened to the main realm or anything. We're in the Fae realm now, and that's where we live. Ending like this, I hate it.
Yeah.
But, and then, I think we missed our spicy. I will say that there was a lot of spice in this book from the main porn stars who are always spicing it up in the book. I mean, Rissa and Oz, they're together. Yeah. Rissa and Oz get together. Their scene was great. Slade and Auren are like the porn star princesses, and I'm over it. There was so many of it. It's like, there's a scene, and we'll talk about it. We talk about our hated parts. And then they like, Raven was like, I don't think I put enough in here. Let me conclude everything with another.
Yeah, I did not. I don't need that.
No.
I mean, maybe some people do, and maybe they like it. I don't know. That's up to them, but my opinion is I dislike.
Yeah, it was icy. Yeah. Raven really ended on a happy ending. Yeah. She really went hard for the happy ending there. Not a fan. But I will say it's right. You gave it 2 out of 5.
I gave it a 2 because I felt like there was maybe I should have given it a higher rating because there was a lot of spice in it. It wasn't as much spice as some of the other books that she had. Like, I forget what book it was that had more spice, and I think I rated it a 3. So I don't think it had as much spice as that book was. What was it, book 3 or I don't remember. One of those books was nothing but spice.
I don't remember
which one. It was one of them. But this one I just felt like it had a lot of spice, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite either.
It's not good. It's not good spice.
No, it's not.
All right, so then we'll jump to our Goodreads, and we are not in the minority this time. They rated it 4.29 out of 25,000 ratings, which is way high.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's pretty high.
But it makes sense that if you've made it to book 6 in a series, one, either you're in absolute denial because you're like, I've made it all this way through, I'm just going to accept everything that's handed to me.
And you're hate reading at that point too.
Yeah,
or just like going into it, hating it, and like loving the hate. I don't know.
Exactly. So Kate Jumper says, we really just left all of Warrior behind like that, which perfectly summed up what we were talking about. Like, that was a weird way to end the book. That's fine. Lisa says, I absolutely love this series, but was disappointed by this last book. I really hate when that happens. The ending feels unfinished. What about Auren and Poor Riot? From the part where Slade faces down his dad, the whole part should be rewritten. Very disappointed.
I agree with all of that. I agree. I don't know about giving it a 1 star because I did enjoy a lot of the book, but like, no, I hard agree with everything on that.
Yeah.
Those were probably my main focal points on why I was just like, what?
Yeah, like the last 2 hours of the book, or the last, I don't even know.
20%.
I was looking at my Kindle, like, how many more?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so Brandon Nielsen says, I could write a super long 2-page review on why I don't like this book, but the short answer is that the book was one massive cliche, had millions of conveniences, and had some of the most useless and stupid sex scenes. I'm looking at you, very last chapter. No consequences at all for any character, and honestly poorly written. I actually enjoyed the first half of the book, but the second half was simply horrible and made me so angry.
I'm not too far from off that either. Like, I don't think it made me angry. I was just left with like, I didn't get that last book feel, when you finish the book and you're just like, I didn't get that.
No.
I got
like, what the fuck? Is this the end?
Yeah, I was like, please tell me like something is like, I was severely disappointed. Yeah.
So I agree. Yeah, it's, again, like you said, I agree with everything. Maybe not 1 star because there were things that I did like in it, but Yeah, the critiques on this one,
Yeah.
spot on.
I agree. Hard agree. All of it.
Hard agree. All right, so that was our review and the summary, and we'll conclude now with our best and favorite parts, which is our spoilers. All right, Kristen, do you want to do your favorite parts first?
Yeah. So I haven't read this book in a while. I just want to throw it out there. Just like last episode, the last two episodes, I don't really remember a whole lot. But reading over my notes from the book, I kind of remember. I'm not going to be as enthusiastic about why I love these parts because I don't remember fully why, but I remember what happened enough. But yeah, my best parts, I don't have many, so that's good, I guess.
Well, I mean, it was
yeah, we were talking about
barely 3.5.
Yeah. So I do like that. I do remember this because I really enjoyed this part when Slade saved Melina.
Yeah.
I loved everything about that, and because he was just like, "Holy shit!" She's like, "Holy shit!" Pretty much. And like the way he saved her, he like rotted. Of course, he just rotted everything, but it was a good moment. That was such a good introduction, or not introduction, but I guess revisit of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about I don't even think he really met her.
No.
It was kind of like he met her husband, or he dealt with her husband. And then he finds out she's killed off. But the fact is that he saves her. He didn't really care to save her, but then he does. But
I think he was saying like, Auren would be upset if I killed you.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna leave you alive, even though I want to kill you.
Exactly, because he knows. He went to when he was doing his Hellbent Revenge. He saw her cage, and he hated her for allowing that to happen. But the fact that he still saved her, that meeting, and he realizes that she's kind of redeemed. He didn't it was just a good meeting to pretty much end the series for them, because he ends up going on his way to the Fey Realm. So that was pretty cool, especially because I'm starting to like Melina anyway. Well, I shouldn't say starting. I do like Melina at this point. So that was really great. And then, of course, he uses his shadow dragon, which I don't really like his dragon, but I don't dislike to pull from the book.
It's like the fucking...
It's the weirdest thing.
Ribbons.
Yeah. So it's like, when he finally comes in play, I enjoy it. So the dragon took a big part in this, which I really, really liked. Also, I liked that Auren's starting to fight back from the memory worm eaters. When she was told... She never allowed that... yes, for a short period of time, but she always fought back from that fucking Una bitch. I can't stand her.
Yeah.
So she always did try and fight back with that, and the way she, got the worm out, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that whole thing. And then the battle she had with Una to get rid of her was
snap that bitch.
Yeah, fucking it was wonderful. I was so happy about that. And then I don't remember, but there was a battle with Lydia. When she reveals Lydia, that she reveals herself to save Wick and Emily. I kind of remember this, but apparently, I really like the battle.
Oh yeah, so this is when they just escaped, all of them, and she goes into the city,
and they're in the city, right?
and they're doing a play.
Okay,
and making fun of the Turleys,
and Lydia is pretending to be Auren, right?
Lydia is the city.
Or not Lydia. Oh, not Lydia. The girl.
Emily.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Emily is glamored as her and is bowing down.
That's right. And then she takes care of that issue, which
she chases the king out. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I
such a
love
good
that shit.
Yeah, such a good part. I didn't write specifics on why I like that part, but apparently it was a really good part. And this is when Slade is getting closer to her too.
Yeah, Slade is in the city. He's headed there now.
Yeah, so that's all happening. He sees her aura, and she's so this whole part was just I'm loving this part. I think this was probably one of my favorite parts in the book. I also enjoyed when Slade and her got back together up until the sex scene.
Yeah,
I did not like the sex scene, but I loved their meeting because Auren still doesn't know who the fuck he is, and he's he doesn't know that she doesn't know who the fuck he is, and so this is their meeting, getting back together after they're pretty much one. I guess their meeting bond clicked, which that's a whole subject I'd like to discuss and things to discuss. But that whole situation where they're back together is just he uses his dragon. He comes out with his fucking dragon, and she's got her ribbons back because he didn't know she's got her ribbons, and she's fighting like a badass. It's Perfect.
I loved that she constructed it this way where Auren didn't know.
Yes.
Because it would have been lackluster to be like, oh, Slade, oh,
Yeah.
Auren, the fact she was like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, yeah, and he's like, what do you mean, who the fuck is me? And we're in his POV, so he's sort of panicking a little bit, but also he's still flirting with her with his fucking clothes.
Because he's not understanding what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So it was great. Obviously, it didn't take long for her to get her memory back because I guess, once they connect.
Yeah, whatever.
Which
I'm a little bitter about that.
I mean, I get that helped the situation, but like, I just don't like the way the sex scene played out.
Yeah, instead of a 48-hour sex rampage that happened after it, what would have been cool is to have him rot them out.
Yeah.
Have a whole scene where they're in there and she's explaining how he needs to rot it, and that would have been way better.
Where they're trying to figure that whole situation out. I would have much preferred that than the fucking weird sex scene that reminded me so much of Kingdom of the Wicked.
Or that it was just so convenient that he just shows up and then boom, oh, they're gone. Yeah. All the worms are gone, it's fine.
Yeah, when she struggled with fighting these off for a good chunk of the book. So like, what? Whatever. Whatever. Yeah. And then I want to say another part was when Emily slaps Ryan because she like like pretends to be him. I think she like glamours herself to be him, and then she slaps the shit out of him.
The jailer.
I think so.
Yeah, she strangles him up against the bars while she's grabbing his key, and then shoves his body, and she like has to take off all of his clothes and stuff, and then she's talking about his gross shoes because they smell. Yeah,
I love that. And then when Slade got his dragon back, because I was really upset how his dragon got killed. I was super upset. So like, this is practically the end of the book. He gets his dragon back, and I'm happy about that, but at the same time I'm just like,
what is this dragon?
I don't understand the dragon, but I'm just happy he's not dead.
Yeah, I don't understand what it is, but
I did enjoy that part. I think that was like one of the only parts of the book I liked at the end.
Yeah.
At the end part. I was like, okay, yeah, dragon back. I'm happy about this. I don't understand what's going on at all. Super confused. And I was like, did I miss something? Did I reread like a weirdo and forget like, did I skip chapters? Like, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. But those are my best parts.
Okay, some of my favorite parts. I love Rissa and Oz.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with these two. Their whole first scene, I love them. Like him, he's just great. He's like boyfriend material contender because I love how he treats Rissa. Yeah. And I love Rissa just being a bitch to him, and he's just like, yeah, no. And then he's like a bitch right back to her. Like, I love these two. But my favorite part is when they're actually having sex and she pretends to orgasm.
Yeah.
And he freaks out, grabs her, and starts spanking her until she admits that she did it.
I forgot about that.
She's like, this is unhand me.
Yeah.
I love it. I love him so much.
Yeah, that was funny. I did enjoy that part a lot.
I also like that, like, so he's been sort of hovering around her, right? Because obviously she's back alive in this book. And she describes him, right before they get intimate, when he walks into the room, she describes him as, he looks masculine and broody, as if he just finished training some soldiers before riding a horse and then chopping down a tree. I don't know why this makes me LOL, but
that was so funny.
She like threw every manly man thing that he could possibly be doing, and I'm like, yeah, that is him.
Yeah, that is. Like, she calls him this big oaf all the time. Like,
yeah, and like that just perfectly. He was probably doing all of those things. Maybe not chopping down a tree.
Oh, I'm sure he probably was.
Maybe. Also, it's just kind of a small thing, but I love that Slade clarifies that he took his mom's last name. I think it was kind of obvious, but you don't really get clarification until here. Yeah. And he also says, I like the way he says it too. He's like, I'm not a cull, and I never want to be. I'm my mother's son. I'm a Ravinger.
And his last name's great too. I mean, it's like Ravinger just makes sense.
Yeah, Slade cull. No.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Also, when Slade finally gets to the Fae realm, I love this part too because he finds some Volman right away. Yeah. And they're like, he's like, hey, do you know somebody named Auren? And they're like, Auren, the chosen one, the golden one. Of course, everybody knows about her. Everybody loves him. And he's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, he's already instantly defensive. He's already upset. Like, what do you mean who she is? What do you mean you know? What do you mean everybody's saving her?
Yeah.
I love his like attitude.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, he doesn't know that everybody knows her. Like, they already know her all back in the human world. Yeah. And so now he's coming back, and now that's happening again. He's like, is she captured again?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Like, I just love it. I love it. We already talked about Slade and Auren not recognizing each other. Blah 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 blah. Oh, okay. So also, Auren takes Auren and Slade and Wick or go into the cells where they're holding Brenner. And they're going to interrogate him, and they're going in there. She's going to speak first, but when they go in there, Slade goes to the back of him, and he's scared, and he's looking at Slade, and Slade's like, "Don't look at me, look at her." And I just love this because he's like, "Let my woman handle this. Let my woman interrogate you." Yeah. Like I'm loving.
Yeah, that was great.
I love him because he does this again later in the book too, but I don't think I put it down. But I love him allowing her to take the lead, allowing her to go fight in the battle, not alongside him, but having to do, because there's a part where they have to split up. Yeah. He has to go like on his dragon, and she has to take care of the fighting there. And I like that he lets her have the control when he needs to. And this was just kind of a small example of that. I love when everybody in the town bows to her when she comes back down off the dragon after the fight. So the stone swords try to burn down the city. They clear that all off, and after that they do like another swoop, and when she comes back, the entire city is now bowing to her after they were kind of fighting about whether or not they wanted to trust the woman. I really like that. They gave me Game of Thrones Dany vibes. Yeah. So I like seeing that. I also love Riot punching the shit out of the king. That was great. Yeah. Like, I was like applauding him, like, he had nothing else on him, but just fucking, I'm just gonna punch this guy to death. I think he did it.
I am really liking Riot in this book.
Me too! Yeah. This whole scene, after he punches them, then he's like fighting off these stone things, and then he slices his head off, and I'm like, fucking, this was hot. I don't know. You're Slade's brother, so I'm sure.
I'm assuming that if there is another series, it's going to be a mixture of Riot and Emily. And whatever happens in Auren. Yes. That's what I assume. Because, like, Riot, just, like, in my opinion, he was, like, the underdog of the whole thing. And no one really... I mean, he was acting as, not Slade, but Rip for the longest time. So, like, he's got to have some tendencies of his brother.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
maybe he has better sex scenes.
Thank God that fucking he's here to give his point of view, like because the battles from his point of view were really good.
Yeah, because he's an actual soldier.
And I like that we got him, and I like that he was the one who killed the king. Yeah. Would I have liked Auren to do it to kind of get the final finality of that? I think that I thought that I did want that, but then it feels really cliche. Yeah. So I'm glad that it was him. Yeah. I thought it was going to be Ione, whatever her name is. And I was not sure I was happy about that. But then when it was Riot, that's just something that makes sense. Yeah. The top commander of the army should be the one to do this. So I'm glad she gave that to him.
And plus, he needed something. Like, poor Riot's always been like the shadow of his brother for the longest time. He needed his mission, and that he wanted to save the world. That he gave a fuck about that world. Yes. Auren kind of just didn't. She wanted to be with Slade. So they just wanted to be with her. They didn't care. Like so for them to kill, the king, it didn't matter to them really. Like it did, but that wasn't their main goal. Their main goal was to get together. Yeah. And to be together, find each other. Like, Riot, he was the one with the mission to take care of the realm. Because, I mean, even Slade and him had that battle a few times. He's like, no, you gotta help me take care of this world first before you go find Auren. He's like, no, I want to just go find Auren. Yeah. He's like, well, help me here. Like, so it made sense for Riot to be that person.
Yeah. And I'm glad that she didn't shaft him of that.
No, I would have been very mad if she did.
Yeah. So what were some of your worst parts?
Oh my god, okay. Shoot, I don't think I have worst parts, but I just have a bunch of discussion parts. Oh. Because, like, I don't know what to think about. I mean, I hated some of the sex scenes. I felt like the sex scenes were a little bit much. I would even like to say the way the queen died I didn't like, but I think it was more of a discussion. Like, I felt like maybe if she was going to die, you should have done it a different way. But I think those are more discussion points. I don't really know if I guess I do hate, but I don't think I hate it enough to be like, fuck this, I don't like this, ever. I think I want to discuss a lot of things. I just don't know.
I hate the sex scene.
Yeah, the sex scene.
And I'm going to rant about it for a minute, because when Auren and Slade unite, the, uncontrollable lust was fucking embarrassing. Yeah. Her dry humping him as they're walking, in front of everybody, as they're walking to the safe house. They're still, in the city, and she's, she can't control herself, she has to hump him. Ew! And then after that, we have the 48-hour sex rendezvous, which she noted for us. Told her it was scene after scene after scene.
It was not. We didn't need that. We didn't need that.
This is such a cliche
during the battles
that I wish would die. I don't need the Fae bond to have to fucking... First of all, I don't even like fated mates. That's a trope I do not like. And then to add on top of that every time I read about these fucking Fae bonds, that they have to be cemented with sex, and then it makes them fucking ravage each other, or like they have uncontrollable lust and they can't stop themselves. I hate it. It's such a cliche. I wish it would die.
The only time I ever like fated mates is when they go against it.
Yes.
If you're gonna do a fated mate story, I enjoy that they go against it or they question it. Like, why are we just all of a sudden allowing, like, why people like they meet each other and then, yes, we're gonna agree to this fated mate. No, I like when they're trying to, like, I don't want to know if I want to be fated with you. Like, I enjoy that, and maybe they end up together, maybe they don't. But there's books that I've read where they're fated and they don't end up together, and I love that.
See, that would be much better.
Yeah, I've read a few of those books.
There's something about fated mates that takes the romanticism out of it. For me, because it's like, well, then you're soulmates, so it's like then you're bound to the soul. No, it's much more romantic, in my opinion, to have people who are not fated together or who are fated with other people have to, like,
work for it.
They're choosing each other. Like, that's a choice they're making. And you could say that, oh, these are choices these people are making, but I don't think it's really a choice. Not because really they always find out about the bond after they've made the choice, which...
Yeah, and at that point, they're going purely off of... I mean, if I were, like, found a hot dude, and he just happens to be my mate, but I don't know it, but I'm feeling some strong connection, of course I'm gonna fucking go with it.
Yeah.
And then I find out, oh, I had no choice my whole time, it was gonna happen, I'd be like, well, that kind of fucking sucks.
Yeah. Like, then it's like, well, did I really like that?
Yeah.
Or was it this like internal something that's pulling me towards that?
I mean, sure, I'm happy, but
I'm not fully happy. About
yeah,
it.
like now it just makes me question whether or not I really like this person, or if it's purely animalistic.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I mean that sounds great too. But, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, I have one more hated part, and my final hated part is the fake out of Auren dying. Was ridiculous. Auren, if you're going to kill a main character, kill a main character. Don't fucking half-ass it with this, like, did she die? Oh, she died. And then we're gonna drag it out for 2 chapters until she comes back reborn as a fucking star. I mean, technically you could say she did die.
That I don't even understand.
I don't understand.
Also, it said, I guess this could go one of the things I need to discuss. It said in the book that she was supposed to make a sacrifice. What sacrifice did she make to become back to life? What did she just, like, came back to life? I don't know. Was she a phoenix now? I can't remember. Did they consider
I thought she was like a golden star. That's what they... I have no idea. I'm just saying that was the last thing I remember.
I can't fucking remember. All I know is that they said something to her that she had to make a sacrifice or whatever, if I kind of remember right. I don't understand what it was how she comes back to life, but no, like, her powers aren't taken away from her. Like, usually when something happens like that in a book, like, you expect there to be some kind of exchange. Like, you can come back to life, but you lose so much power. I don't recall that happening.
No one said she got wings.
Yeah, in fact, she came back
more powerful.
So I'm like, what was the sacrifice of her dying?
Please don't do this. Don't kill off your main character unless you're going to kill off your main character. I feel like so many books do this where they want to fake it out like you're not... Like, I'm going to believe that you're going to kill off the main character, even though you couldn't kill off Frissa. You did kill off 2 people here, but I mean, they're sort of like...
They were not really... I was sad about it.
Maybe Melina. Judd was sort of like a side character. I was sad.
I was sad about Judd, and I was sad about Melina.
I was also sad about Melina.
I didn't understand Melina, which I'd like to discuss.
Yeah, I don't hate Melina's death.
I don't either, but I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I'm just like, that's not adding up. Things are 1 + 1 isn't 2 in this book. Like, what?
But anyways, those are my worst parts, is the fucking sex scenes. I'm done with it, Raven. Thank God I'm done.
Yeah. And specifically with Slade.
Yeah, because I will say, with Osric and even with Dominic, they're not talking like that. No. It's literally these 2. It's like she's living her most dirty fantasy through Slade.
Yeah.
And then the fake out death of the main character. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But we can move on to your discussions.
So I have quite a few. How are they always healing?
Yeah. That's a good question.
I don't understand how, like, because Slade's dad is a breaker of things. Okay, so he's breaking things, which I don't understand too. If he really wants to get rid of them, why are we not snapping necks? Like, why
off the bat?
Why are we breaking limbs? Yeah. Like, okay,
fingers.
Maybe he wants to toy with them, whatever. But how are they healing from this too? Okay, that's the one discussion I don't understand. 2, why are the whole dragon thing, like,
what is it?
There's no understanding of how it works, how it comes. It's a part of him. I guess it's a part of him. How did it come back? How did she make it come back? He said it was Auren's love that made it come back. I don't understand.
Is it real? Because for a while I thought it was just a mirage, but then it died.
It died because the father, you find out, was pretty much raising his son to steal his dragon, which is a good story, but sad, but horrible at the same time. So like all that was confusing. Just like what? And Judd dying the way he died. I'm like, he was helping one of the people come off of this bird thingy, and then
he gets stabbed.
I
liked it because it was so shocking.
It was okay. I get it, but like this is like one of the side main characters, but one of the wrath.
Yeah.
So it's like his death should be a little bit more than just helping somebody get off of a fucking steed mount.
I could see that. It should have been more glorious.
Yeah, because I loved Judd.
Yeah.
I did. Like anytime Judd took an appearance, I fucking loved him. And this is how he dies. I'm like,
I could see that.
I'm a little disappointed in it, but I understand. I like the shock value of it.
Yeah.
It was shocking, and I was upset. I like
rereading it, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? Did that take through him?
Yeah. I was like, okay, he's not dead. He's gonna get healed.
Yeah.
But no, he died, and I understand. I guess somebody had to die from the wrath.
Yes.
It made sense.
Could have been Lou.
Yeah. Also, I like Lou though. I like Judd and Lou. I don't want to.
You don't want to pick.
Also, I do have to say I got really upset when Slade asked where Judd was.
Yeah.
I got thoroughly upset. Do you remember one of the episodes we were filming and we were talking about one of our
yeah. You got emotional first.
I got really emotional. I was trying not to give it away that I like Judd. I was like, I was so upset. I just read that.
That's so funny. I did also feel like it was emotional, but I wasn't that. I don't hate Judd.
Yeah.
I don't really hate anybody in the Wrath, but I also like don't love them. So,
yeah.
Like Lou or Judd could have died. Both of them could have died. I'm like, oh. What hit me most was Melina's death. That hit me pretty
I was
hard.
just about to say, the next thing on here I'd like to discuss is Melina's death. And I think this is probably one of the main discussions I would like to talk about that I kind of have issue with, but I don't quite understand. Maybe if I understood it, maybe I wouldn't have an issue with it. But like, her death was because she needed the blood to cut the ties between the bridge. Okay, that's one of the things. To get the bridge to open, she only needed a drop of blood. So why do we need her whole body blood to close the bridge?
So this is how I understand it. The reason is because it was originally a bridge to nowhere, and it was the people who had their willingness, not just blood, but just the willingness to make it into something else that birthed it to life.
Yeah.
So that means it birthed it to the Fey realm or to back and forth. The moment she did her willingness to give the blood to create the bridge, it tied the bridge's life and existence to her life. So
in order for the bridge to die, she had it to die.
Yeah, so not even just like take it from, or to kill the bridge, what she did. Okay. She had to die.
Okay, that makes sense. I grasp that now. Yeah. Cool, thank you.
And it was like a throwaway line. It literally, she just says, the moment I willingly gave my blood to repair the bridge's life, ... was tied to mine. And that literally is like a throwaway line. So.
Okay, see, I knew I missed something. Like, because this don't make any sense. Why are we going to end a main character's tragedy? Because she was such a great person towards the end. She redeemed herself. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. No one knew she fucking did that. Like, only a couple people saw her. They questioned it. Is that the queen? Because, like, I do enjoy the scene. Mm-hmm. So this is why I don't want to hate it, because I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So now that I know the meaning of her death was because she was tied to the bridge, makes this scene more like better. Mm-hmm. Like, because it just like cleared, the mist cleared, and there they are, the two, like the assassin and the queen dying together. My thing is, they didn't know for sure. They were like, is that the queen? And that was like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She didn't get no recognition, but she wasn't doing it for recognition. Yeah. And I guess maybe that is her fate, was because she wanted to be so like, powerful. She wanted to be well known and well loved, that, it was almost like she kind of wanted to feel like popular, pretty much. Yeah. And then at the end, her fate was to just die with no recognition.
To do the greatest sacrifice, but nobody recognizes.
And I guess that's fucking great, but at the same time, it hurt my fucking heart.
Yeah.
It hurt. And the assassin, okay, I do enjoy, but I don't enjoy. This is a love-hate, I just have to say. I like it a little bit more than I hate it.
Okay.
But it was very poetic that the assassin, because he kept saying, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. So, like, their love ended up being, like, it was a very, even though I don't like Romeo and Juliet, it was a very Romeo and Juliet type of death.
Yes.
And in my opinion, that's a better Romeo and Juliet than Romeo and Juliet. But, like, I was so heartbroken. I'm like, their love just blossomed. And they never got a chance to, like, deal with their love because she had to die and he wasn't going to go without her.
And they just had that, like, one night. Like, they had their quick fuck during the battle.
Yeah,
and
which
then
is so
finally they had one night. I mean, like, literally the next day.
Yeah.
I thought, and for some reason I thought she was just going to jump, but her stabbing herself in the heart was pretty badass.
It was a very, in my opinion, even though I at the time didn't even understand the death or why she had to die, I still appreciated that scene. I think that was a more momentous scene than any part of the book. Even though I was just like, I still don't fucking understand it. But I knew she had to die. I feel like she needed to die. I agree with all of that. I was struggling. So I'm glad you cleared that up for me because I was like, I missed something.
Yeah.
But even though like I said, it added to the book. It didn't take away from me.
Yes. And I love the fact that, like, he did do it. Like, that's what makes me love him even more, is that you could say that, like, I'm going to be responsible for your death, and blah, 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 and he stabs her. Not, like, responsible, but, like, he said I'm going to be the person, I'm going to be your assassin. Yeah. And at the end of it, he was her assassin. And then he kills himself, like, right there, stabs it.
Oh, that scene, like, really hit me in the feels.
Yeah, it was hard, because they never got their
togetherness.
Yeah, and he even says to, because she basically says, like, I'm sorry we couldn't have time together. And he says, but we'll have death together, and that is endless.
I know. Right?
Oh my god.
For a character we fucking hated for like 2 books.
Yeah. Now I'm like mourning her death.
Yeah.
It was the only death in this book that really like
it hit me. Yeah. It did hit me. It hit me hard. And like at the end I was just like, that was the part, in my opinion, if it ended right there, I'd probably been like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit, that would have been better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It would have made sense, you know, but like I felt like it just, there was a lot of questions with that whole thing, and I'm glad you cleared that up because that was the thing. But I still felt like the fact that nobody, it was like, it's like the end of Manacled, you know? When that scene happened, I got the same exact feeling. I was just like, but no one's gonna recognize that she did this. And I guess that's the tragedy of it, right? Yeah. So I shouldn't be upset about it, but I am.
And like everybody who's still alive just generally shun her anyways. So it's like, so she never even got to a point where she redeemed herself in anybody else's life. Whether or not they recognize, you know, they're still going to think back like, oh, Melina, the fucking cold bitch queen. Yeah. Like, that's how everybody, maybe except for the 100 people who survived in High Bell.
Yeah. Or like maybe even Slade. But they're in a whole other section of the fucking realm.
So he didn't even, he was just, kind of almost on the bridge when it exploded. Yeah. It was, but I loved, that was one of my chef's kiss scenes, is when she does that. We get her POV from it crumbling, we get Riot's point of view from it crumbling, we get Slade. That's why I don't understand why people don't like the multiple POVs, because that action was credible and incredible to see everybody's, what they were doing at that moment when that bridge fell. It was great.
Yeah, I enjoy everything from that whole scene. Like I said, when they had their death, and like even before the death, when the mist cleared and everybody saw it, and as they were dying and everybody was seeing from every different POV, it was wonderful. It even made it more tragic, which gave me more feels, which made me question it more. Like, why did we have to die? Because I missed a fucking sentence. You know?
I missed the random throwaway fucking line.
And it's not like I could go back like a couple like pages. It was like probably like maybe a chapter before. Yeah. Because I kind of know where that would have been. It was when she realized that when she was like captured, and I think the assassin was out, and she had this like epiphany.
It was after the twins told her, or like making fun of her and saying, "You were so willing." She was just like sitting with that for a little bit, and
that's where I missed it, because like I hate the twins. So like anytime the twins came in play, I'm just like, I fucking hate these guys. So more than likely, that's probably where I missed it.
That's funny. Did you have any more questions?
I had more things to discuss. Okay. Yeah, so Slade's father and Slade having that whole like battle for the dragon, like that. I just want to discuss in the sense that it's like, holy shit, like his father raised him for slaughter,
and it's like how I'm unclear about how the transfer of that dragon would have went because.
Supposed to take his heart and supposed to do something with it so now he can have control of the dragon.
What?
Why does he want the dragon so bad? Why not? I
can understand why you want a dragon.
Yeah, but it's not even like.
But how are you going to? This is a manifestation of his magic because, as I understand, like the dragon doesn't even shoot flames; it shoots rot. So it's like this is Slade's dragon, that was birthed from his connection with his Fey bond with Farah, with Auren.
Yeah, because without their connection, he didn't have that dragon. That's what, because their powers were entwined. Like she got his rot. And he got her golden like power that like kind of beefed up his.
And his dragon's like gold in the front. Yeah. So I still don't understand how this transfer of power would work. That you would somehow get it.
They never explained any of that. Like I think they did, but it was just like a very short blip that didn't explain how maybe taking his power. I don't know. Maybe taking the dragon's heart was going to not give him the same dragon. Maybe just create something in him to have his own dragon?
Maybe.
I don't fucking know. That's me guessing. Like that's not even.
They didn't explain it.
So I'm just like, I don't understand that whole thing. But
I feel like how you felt about the why didn't Melanie kill herself is exactly how I feel about this dragon. Like I don't believe that it's real at all. Because when we first see it, it's mist, and then it takes more of a full shape. And at this point, I'm still thinking it's just like a mirage, but then when they're getting on it, writing it, I'm like, but it's not real. Like it's just an image. I don't believe in this dragon.
So the only thing is that I get with this is that as he gets these powers and his connection with Auren gets closer, this dragon manifests more and more to be a real thing. And I think that's the only reason why I understand it to be.
Where does it go? Like he just poofs it into existence and poofs it out?
Okay, so the only reason why I'm able to accept this is because, like I said, this book is a lot of, in my opinion, For Blood and Ash feels.
Yeah.
And For Blood and Ash has another series where they have this like tattoo of them wherever on them, where it like is like another animal that manifests. So like one of the main characters, he has a steed. So when he calls to it, but they're gods, so he can call to it, and the steed just appears. But then when he calls for it back, the steed goes back into a mist and goes into their arm. So it's like, is this like,
is it real?
Is it like the From Blood and Ash series? Like
it sounds like it,
but it doesn't say if it goes into him. It just poofs, like you said. Like, but they like, at least in the other books I read, it's like it goes into like a shadow mist, and then like, you know,
there's an explanation.
There's none of that in this book. No. I don't know where it goes.
It just comes out, but it never talks about it leaving. Like it just it's just here, and then that's it.
Yeah,
because like it was out when they found each other. Yeah, right, and then they just went to go fucking. Like, where'd it go? He just left it out there in the middle.
Yeah, and then like, why didn't he call his dragon back when that whole thing was happening? I'm not understanding. So it's like, is there a certain point where now that the dragon is real and not necessarily like the shadow mist, that he can't call the dragon back as much? Like, I don't know.
I hate this entire dragon.
Someone please explain that to us.
I love a dragon in a fantasy book. Give it to me.
Yeah.
But what? I don't like this. And then it literally started in this book. So like, why did we create all of this nonsense?
Like, I don't understand.
In this book.
Yeah, we're creating a whole, like I said, the trajectory of this book took a whole different, I'm like, there's so many things in here that weren't here, now I'm having to figure out why, in one book.
It's like she literally just made it up. Because I think that Raven, I think that if you really had planned to have this dragon in there would have been more conversation about this in like book 3, I think, is when we get Slade's backstory.
I don't know why we didn't discuss it.
We would have been talking about his line is from a dragon line. Dragons have been extinct. Like, you would have put something in there to allude to it.
Okay, so the only thing that I could only gather that she was kind of hinting this towards is that he had some kind of bond with anything winged. Like,
we only got that example with Argo. That's it.
No, we did it. We got it in another book where he saved all those fucking winged beasts, and on top of it,
he saved that winged beast, and he saved that.
Well, Riot also told him all the time. I remember this because Riot would say it constantly. Why does every winged beast like you? Oh, we get it. The winged beasts like you. It was from Riot's perspective, because Riot was the only one who really knew him. Like, that would say that.
I guess.
So like even the falcon that would come back to him, he was the only one able to get the bird to capture other messages and bring
That's
it.
right.
So there was like hints of that, but it wasn't enough.
That's not the
It's not
way
enough.
to allude to a dragon.
No.
A winged creature. I mean, I guess a dragon is technically a winged creature, but I would
yeah,
put
not
like
the
a
king
bird
yeah.
and a fucking falcon, or I guess that's a bird. Whatever. What the?
I don't know what timberwolves
What are they?
Yeah.
Timberwolves. Yeah.
I imagine there's something like the wild griffins. like,
That's kind of what I imagine.
yeah.
Too, yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there wasn't enough.
No.
Sure that they were there. But it's not enough. I would have never gathered from this to that.
No, I need a direct dragon reference. Reference the
Yeah.
blood of the dragon is
The
what I
scales! Like, you could even use the scales, because that's another thing that they were saying.
need. Yes.
Because the dad, okay, this is kind of funny. The dad had like 1 or 2 scales,
Yeah.
like on the head or whatever. He like took off or whatever, and there's like 1 or 2 scales, and he's just like, it's like the inadequacy of father and son. I was
Yeah.
like cracking up. I was like, oh, so he only has small scales. I was just like, that's like so bitter.
Yeah.
So the only other thing, okay, I also have a question about Slade's mom. She's a fortune teller. Like, she was the Goldfinch line.
Yes, I hated that. She is, wasn't it her?
Like, she whispered Goldfinch. I was like, the only thing she said to him when they came back.
Yeah, right before she stopped talking.
and
yeah.
she just said Goldfinch.
She's like didn't they say in book 3 or whatever that she was like a messenger of the gods? Like she could
That's
get
she
messages
had like
from them?
a divinity power to be able to see the future, talk about, but she was never able to predict the future for the dad. So like the only thing that I kind of like, I was just like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous, was the Goldfinch line. It was kind of too just like easy, and then that's why he's calling her Goldfinch, I guess. But why did we take this long to tell the story? Why didn't he tell her like at any point in time? He was already in love with her. They were already in love with each other. Why wouldn't he confide in her then?
Yeah.
And like we're waiting to the very end of the book to find this out, and he tells her, "Oh, I saw that you wore that feathered. Remember that captain's feathered thing, and that like that's also like she was the gold aura." And then he sees these feathered things, so that's why he called her Goldfinch. I was like, that's kind of cute, but still, it's like it took too long.
Yeah, I did think that was cute, and I also think that's too long.
Yeah, why are we waiting this long to tell that story?
Also, I hate that nickname. I
know.
hate Goldfinch, and she even says like, "I like it. It's a secret." And then we find out it's like this actual big prophecy. The Goldfinch.
I'm like,
hate this.
I didn't hate the prophecy, so to speak. Like,
Yeah.
tell it in another book. Like,
You're right.
I hate that it's told at this late in the book.
Yeah.
Because I maybe would have appreciated the Goldfinch nickname a little bit more.
Maybe.
But I didn't.
But I had to
appreciate
hate it. I had to hate it. I had to hate it through 6 books.
Yeah, like my
Yeah.
book too. Like, I'm like, I really had to deal with the Goldfinch line that made no sense for God knows how long.
Yeah, maybe on like book 3 when they're finally like confessing and doing stuff for their love.
Yeah.
That would have been a good
And
place
it was
to
like,
confess
my
it.
mom said right before she couldn't talk anymore, and I would have been like, oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, because I think that's when she meets the mom.
yeah
too.
why wouldn't he just tell her then?
Because he knows they're mated. So
he
like,
knows, yeah. And that last mated line too, where she figured out that he was mate.
Yeah.
That whole because they were sitting like one of the books, I think it was book 1 or 2, where there's book 2 where he's sitting right before like they go in to go see Midas. Like he's sitting with her on the meadow and they're talking, and he like says this thing that talks about how like the name for their pairing or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He kind of slips it in, and
Yeah.
then she like think he knew the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
I think that's pretty much my only thing to discuss online.
My main thing to discuss was the dragon with you as well.
So that's why we have these discussions, though. We were able to like talk to each other and figure out like the little pieces. You know, there's times where we're reading and we're either really tired or we're just trying to get through it because it's like, okay, this book is really horrible, but the rest of the series is great. You know, there's like.
Anything could play a role.
I mean, everybody misses a part of a book. I read a whole book and just completely not even paying attention to the side area of another section. And I'm like, 5 stars. So I get it. Okay.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, let us know down below if you have an answer to our other questions that we
I
did.
have very many questions.
Yeah, mainly for me it's the dragon. I'm so confused about the dragon.
Please explain it to us.
We hate it. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's the complete series of The Plated Prisoner. Like I said in the beginning, I'm really happy that we're finished with this. We will be doing a full series review though, so that'll probably be a really short, sweet episode. We're just gonna sort of talk about our overall view of it and whether or not we'd recommend the series or not. But
So for those of you who actually haven't read the book, we'll try to do a non-spoiler part in the beginning just so we can give you the overall rating. If it's worth reading, you know, the whole 6-book series, you know, that kind of a thing.
Yep. The whole 6-book series. Yep. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you here next episode.
On Friday.
On Friday
at 5.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.